Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.
Yeah. What do you think of this one right here?
Accompong Maroons file lawsuit against Jamaican government.
Accompong Maroons, bro. You heard of these guys?
Nah, they Moors or what?
I never heard of these guys either, man.
Damn,
From Jamaica, man. So, Buck and I, when we first started the pod, I mean, we just covered it in the recap.
Mm-hmm.
But we did a segment on the Taino Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And why I started doing that, Ron, was when I was thinking of Jamaica, you know, supposedly that whole island. It's a whole black island. And they're all descendants of slaves. And I'm like, come on, bro. I mean, that's what they're peddling, right? That's the bullshit they're peddling in history class. And I'm like, that's a tall order, bro. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a whole fucking island? That's crazy, right? So I was looking, and that's how I came across the Taino Tribe. But what I found, the Taino Tribe was more of like a kind of a Hispanic indigenous, more of that vibe, like a browner skin as opposed to like a darker brown, right? Mm-hmm. Like a little lighter brown. And so this was interesting. This really got my attention because of that. I was like, oh shit, never heard of these guys. And obviously this dude is just a black dude, right? So I'm like, yo, what the fuck? This is who I was looking for. These guys. So it goes down here, bro. Look at this shit. The Accompong Maroons have filed a lawsuit in the Supreme Court against the government of Jamaica and the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. The Accompong Maroons and the Jamaican government have been at odds over recent months, stemming mainly from disputes over the boundaries of the cockpit country, the Maroons' ancestral lands, and the question of Maroon sovereignty. Bro, to have sovereignty, you have to be
of the land, right?
Of the land, or like your own free people. Like it just, I
have
was like,
claim to the land.
Yes,
something.
dude. Yes.
Lineage on the land.
Yeah. So I was like, yo,
stake to the land.
Yes.
The Moors have that power.
Right.
They do.
Right.
Uh-oh.
So
speak that shit. Decide.
Look, watch this, bro. So I was really interested in that. I was like, wow, that really jumped out at me, right? Sovereignty. If there's anything we've learned, guys, in the 100 episodes, it's like you got to really read between these other words. There's certain words. Sovereignty, like, yo, what the fuck? That really jumped out at me. So then it goes on to say, in this new era, I love how he says this, bro. Look at, this is him. His name's Richard Currie, by the way. That guy with the article you read, Ron, that guy's name is Richard Currie. It says, in this era of time, under the leadership of the newly democratic leader, myself. That fool just said it, right?
That sounds like an oxymoron, huh?
The Maroons seek to defend the land again.
Democratic leader, myself.
We have filed a lawsuit against the government of Jamaica and the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. So then again, he talks about that the declaration of title under the Registration of Titles Act without prejudice will show them that Maroon sovereignty is indeed the law of the land. And then it goes on. It says he asserts that the lawsuit will show that the Treaty of 1738 between the Maroons and the then British colonial authorities, which gave the Maroons sovereignty over their lands, remains in effect with the Jamaican Constitution. I was like, hold on, bro. So you're telling me that these fucking guys were in Jamaica in 1738 as a free, independent, sovereign nation, right? If that's what we're going to call them.
Right.
But what you're teaching in fucking school is that there's an island of slaves, descendants, or whatever that is, right? And I was like, nah, there it is, bro. Boom. So I start going deeper in it, and I go, because I was like, who? I'd never heard of the Maroons. This is from Wiki, and it says, when the English invaded Jamaica in 1655, most Spanish colonists fled. So I was like, okay, so the Spanish colonized Jamaica before the British. And it says many of their slaves escaped, right? They got to throw that in first. Like there was like all these slaves, right? Together with free blacks and mulattoes and some native Taino, coalesced into a number of ethnically diverse groups in the Jamaican interior. Together with free blacks. Again, the word jumped out at me, bro. I'm like, yo, this is back in 1655 now. This is almost 100 years before that fucking treaty was signed. Mm-hmm. So now we're back in 1655, and we're talking about the Maroons, the Accompong Maroons. Then I go, okay, wait a minute. Down here they talk about how the Spanish colonists fled. And I'm like, wait a minute, the Spanish colonists, dude. When did Spain colonize?
It said Taino right there too. Did you mention that right there?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Yeah, it does say that, absolutely. But so then it says that basically what I'm getting at, bro, and I'll put these notes up, but that the Spanish colonized around 1492. And that is when at that time the Moors were the Spanish colonists that they're talking about. That's what I'm contending, because it says here that in 711 troops mostly formed by Moors from northern Africa led the Umayyad conquest of Hispania. The Iberian Peninsula then came to be known in classical Arabic as Al-Andalus.
I follow you.
Which is modern day Spain and Portugal.
I follow you. Rewind. All right, peoples. I got it. So he's saying when you guys hear Spanish colonizers, you're thinking modern day Spaniards.
Spain.
You're thinking most likely white,
Exactly.
white, Caucasian, what we would say today. However, at the time, the Moors were actually in control in Spain.
Yeah.
So these Spanish that came to Jamaica were most likely of a melanin hue. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So they were the Moors that he's talking about.
Exactly.
And then those mulattoes that they mentioned would have been a mixture of people probably of a different hue that came from Spain, and then the Moors that were in Spain. Because I'm sure that there were, like me and you have often said too, they want to paint pictures as if when the Moors were in Spain, it was black. And when the Moors were kicked out of Spain, then it was white. It's never really been 100% really anything. You know what I mean? Like when you go to Europe, you see black and white people. There may be more of one or the other, but it's
no
probably
pun intended.
Been all the way throughout history. It's a mixture, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro, I understand what you're saying. The Moors that came and
the Spanish colonizers, were Moors. They were black.
And that makes a lot of sense when people really do the history, because it's been said that Christopher Columbus, we've said this now 2 or 3 times on the podcast, had melanin hue Moors with him on his voyages.
And I'll get to that now.
So yeah, it's like, heck yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So check this out. Here's a Moor. That doesn't look like a fucking any Spanish guy I've ever seen. And there's another Moor.
Right. Does I know what's up, see?
How about this guy? There's another Moor. Right? So I want to talk about the Alhambra Decree. We've talked about this before. This was issued in 1492.
Alhambra?
Alhambra by Isabella
You said
and,
it better. I can't roll
and
that R.
Ferdinand, bro. And what they ordered was the expulsion of all Jews and Moors from Spain.
Yeah.
And that's why Christopher Columbus
The
left, because
Edict of
Christopher Columbus
Expulsion.
was a Jew. His family was a converso.
That's probably when racism started right there,
Yeah.
huh, bro? In
Yep.
1492. They was like, we can't take it no more.
Yep.
Fucking war on all you Moors. Like, damn,
So
homie.
the Moors and the Jews are kicked out from the Edict of Expulsion, which is the Alhambra Decree in 1492.
Okay.
And they come over and they colonize Jamaica.
Yeah.
And it had to have been the Moors, because they were just kicked out of fucking Spain, bro.
There it is. There's nothing to argue. Like, yeah, bro. And it's probably funny too, because us Americans, we've been fed this narrative, so a lot of people already probably know this stuff. So we're just letting people know, because we're just coming across all this information, and we want to just lay the groundwork for why some of the things we say make sense, because it's like right here. Like the whole time we're talking, Desai's over there like, yeah, duh, the Moors were there for 900 years, you know. So Desai already, you know, had a inkling to know that, yeah, of course, that makes sense. So for a lot of people, though, they probably never even thought of that.
Yeah.
They just assumed that the narrative we've been given was, oh, Christopher Columbus, oh, they brought slaves and they stopped in the Caribbean first.
Yeah.
So that's why the Caribbean is black.
Yeah.
So when they go there and they vacation
what I was
there,
taught.
they see the black people there, they don't think these are the native people of this land. They think these are the people that were brought on boats from Africa.
Yeah, that none of the people from Africa remember. They're like, what? When you go to West Africa, remember we watched that Dan Calloway video? And the guy's like, bro, none of us know what you guys are talking about.
Speaking of Dan Calloway, he just released his book that is called They Told It in Reverse.
Backwards. Oh, yeah, They Told It in Reverse.
And it shows like some brothers that look like the Moors that you're talking about right now. And they were
white slaves.
Bringing white slaves
Which
over.
is what I was going to say, too, bro, about this is when they said they're slaves, I thought immediately, because I know that the Irish were fucking slaves at one time. And I know there was a lot of white slaves, so it would make sense that they're slaves if the fucking Moors, like the Moors brought a bunch of fucking black dudes. Nah, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? I think they probably did bring a bunch of white dudes over, and they don't want to talk about that.
Kush and Kin Tribes, the world's most dangerous podcast.